Hi, everybody. I am really excited to be here tonight. Wow, I love that poem. Thank you. And I loved coming after you. Really inspired. I have a rock in my hand. It's a geode. It's my father's rock. 21 days ago, my father died. And I really didn't think I was going to be here. In fact, I left this project, this beautiful project, because I didn't think that I was going to be able to stand up here. I just thought I'd stand up here for 7 minutes and cry. And everybody told me that was okay, so I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance. But it was actually, my dad died, and a friend of mine was at the opening, and she sent me the portrait and the poem. And she said, "You're here." And as soon as I saw both of those, I was like, oh, I really want to do this. And Peter, thank you, supported me. He said, this is the greatest place to bring whatever you've got. So I bring my father with me tonight. And when I was a kid, I got him a geode. I thought I invented it. I thought he'd be so impressed. He was a geologist. I thought it was this great metaphor, Dad, you're crusty on the outside, and you break you open, and you have all these crystals on the inside. He's like, yeah, it's a geode. So I brought my mom home after my dad died, and I was thinking about these questions. And it was actually a wonderful thing to be thinking of. And I got quiet. And I said, what really makes my life meaningful? And this very clear voice said, relationship. Being in relationship. The connection that I feel when I'm in relationship to myself, to others, to my dog. A lot of people know here that I'm really into my dog. Nature. And I was thinking about why. What is that connection? And somebody's talked about energy. And for me, I don't really believe in God per se, but if I did, that would be God. I think of it more as the love that flows between me and you, me and, whatever. It's God is the love that flows between us. And, in working with my father, that was so potent. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. It was such a gift. So I was with my mom while I was thinking this, and so my mom's like my touchstone. And I realized that's another word, a touchstone. And I said, Mom, what did you see in me as a kid? What looked meaningful to me? She said, oh, that's easy. You were intensely interested in people and life. So much so that I was never home. I was always in other people's homes. And we lived in a row house with, houses on either side. And I loved to go sit with the old people in the neighborhood. And I had the Mr. Schooley across the street, old music teacher with really long earlobes. And I had the Bukowskis, who were like the dysfunctional family. The Neelys, very strange. And the Garrity's down in the road. And I would go and I would sit on their porches with them and listen to their stories. And I was little, and I probably knew so much about World War II, back then. I would listen to their stories, and it turns out I would tell them my family secrets because they came back, and the Garrity's actually bought me my own rocking chair. So I would sit there and summer nights, and I really loved that. Another thing about being intensely interested in people was I used to break into people's houses. But not to steal. Seriously, not to steal. it was to go in and, as I call it now, deep listening. I would walk around. I was absolutely fascinated with people's houses, and I liked to be there by myself. So, I'm serious. So I would do this, so then I started thinking about my work trajectory, because work is really meaningful to me. I'm not one of these people like I go to work and I come home and I have a life. It's like my work is my life. And I realized that relationship has driven everything that I have done. So I was a decorative painter in the first part of my adulthood, and I was always in people's homes. The paint got me in the door, but it was really the relationship that I was having, and then I had to paint. So then I became a nurse at 40 because I think I realized that like the direct relationship was what I was really after. And I was also in people's homes, working in hospice, sacred work, really strong, just really soulful work. And then I became a nurse practitioner, a psychiatric nurse practitioner, which, you know, I didn't really plan all this, but I believe that there's been this intelligence that has been bringing me to what is my true calling in work, which is I get to be intensely interested in people and be in people's houses openly. And it's like jackpot. I feel like I am like so happy in this new position, I can't tell you. So I've got 1 minute left, which is great, because I really don't want to talk about the 21-year-old thing at all. But death. I think about death a lot, and not just because of my dad. I think that death, while it doesn't really make life worth living to me, it makes me really value the moment and feel like I just don't want to squander the life that I have. And it makes me be present. And then the dying part, also not so fine, you know, not so happy about that. But death, I'm cool with. I feel like death is just like the big home. You know, it's like I'll get there and it'll be, you know, home. But one thing I will say to the 21-year-old self, am I out of time? Okay. 21-year-old self, show up. Let go of everything else. Your parents were right about everything. They were. They told me to be a nurse when I was young. I was like, no way. Floss. That's a big one, floss. There is nothing that a cup of tea, a good cup of tea, doesn't make better. Toast is pretty much the bomb. And lastly, people do not remember what you say, but people do remember how you make them feel. Thank you.